That's pretty good. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to the Boardman Civic Association's Election Forum. I'm Mark Luke, a member and a board member of the Boardman Civic Association. We're here tonight to inform Boardman residents and interested community members on the candidates and issues on the November 8th general election ballot. We appreciate those in attendance here this evening and those watching or on BSTN. We're appreciative for them being here as well. You have many news and entertainment options afforded to you in this life. You're choosing to be an informed electorate and voter, and we thank you for that consideration of your civic duties. We're also thankful to the Boardman Civic Association's membership and board, as well as Boardman Park staff and commissioners who support us in this event this evening. At this time, I ask you to please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We now welcome Lauren Johnson to lead us in an invocation.
Good evening. When I think of our leaders, I often think of Solomon. And I think of when the Lord asked Solomon, "What should I give you?" And all Solomon wanted was wisdom and knowledge. And the Lord granted him that. So I'd like to open with that tonight in prayer, if we could. Dear Lord, we just thank you for those that are in attendance tonight. We thank you, Lord, for our leaders. Lord, leaders of this country, leaders of this state of Ohio, and leaders of Boardman. And we just pray tonight, Lord, that you would just give each of them a servant's heart. Lord, a heart to serve the people, a heart to serve you. We also pray, Lord, for our leaders that we may live peaceful and quiet lives. We just pray, Lord, that you would just give them wisdom and understanding. Lord, give us the people wisdom, Lord, and guidance on how to vote, Lord, how to live our lives. And so we just thank you tonight. We thank those that have prepared this wonderful dinner for us. And we just pray that you would just be in our midst here tonight, Lord, as we go through. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. One of our traditions at all of our meetings is that we ask any veterans who've served in the military service to either stand or raise their hands if you're in here in attendance this evening. Mr. Hollabaugh? Okay, very good. Thank you. There's an agenda on your tables, and we can get some for the other folks here as well tonight for the speakers forum portion. Speakers that are here this evening, if I haven't checked in with you or you with me, please let's make sure we do during the dinner portion. I want to make sure you understand where you're at and the format that we have. And just as a real important announcement, today is actually National Talk Like a Pirate Day. How many people knew that? Hi? A few people knew that. All right. I don't want to get into an argument with anybody over it. It's National Talk Like a Pirate Day. So the jokes get better, folks. I hope so too. Very good. Okay, well now we're going to have a dinner, and we hope you enjoy good food and good fellowship. A member of the catering staff will come around to release you from your tables. Enjoy. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome back. This is the Boardman Civic Association's Election Forum. How was your dinner? Good. Very good. I'd like to thank a la carte catering and their staff for that wonderful dinner we just had. Hopefully you had good fellowship as well. And we'd also like to thank the Boardman Schools Television Network, who's here this evening filming tonight's forum for rebroadcast on their television network. We'd like to thank advisors Amy Radinovic and Joe Hollabaugh, also students Sean Ferrall, Kelsey McCallum, and Aafaf Shams. Thank you for being here. We'd like to introduce elected officials this evening who are not speaking. With us here this evening, we have Mahoning County Commissioners Anthony Trafficante and Dave Ditzler. Mahoning County Probate Court Judge Robert Russo. Seventh District Court of Appeals Judge David Diapolito. And Educational Service Center Board Member Kathy McNabb Welsh. Kathy brought her entourage this evening, so that's terrific. I'd like to introduce our Boardman Civic Association board members. Our President Tom Testa, Vice President Meg Harris, Treasurer Jeff Barone, board members Attorney Marty Bushy, Stephanie Landers, Karen McCallum, McKenna Ozenkar, Tim Saxton, Dan Segul, Rick Schaefer, Joe Sylvester, Kathy McNabb Welsh, and Kevin Willis. Thank you for your service. I missed introducing someone. Also here with us this evening is Mahoney County Area Court Judge Joe Hauser. Judge, thank you. Well, you may be wondering, what is the Boardman Civic Association? Well, it's a group of local business, civic, and community leaders interested in the general welfare and development of Boardman Township. We have quarterly meetings to receive updates on matters in the township, as well as news on the schools, park systems, and business environment. Our dinner meetings and events include our annual awards dinner meeting, our annual scholarship dinner, general election forum this evening, and business mixers. Membership is worth your time and is a bargain, so we ask you to look into that as well. We also invite you tonight to our October 17th meeting, which will be our community awards. We will be giving awards out to Tom Testa as our president, EDM Management for their Briarfield Place facility, Washington. Everyone's got fans here tonight. That's good. Washington Prime Group for the DeBartolo Commons project, Boardman Boosters for their community service, and Gail McCullough as Business Person of the Year. So we look forward to that event. I know Judge Russo always likes little history tidbits that I come up with occasionally. He's a big fan of that. So something significant happened on this date in 1876, really changed the world. The first carpet sweeper was patented by Melville Bissell in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Right? There you go. Never had wall-to-wall carpeting until we had that invention, right? Think about it. You don't go outside and beat them with a broom. On this date in 1976, New York concert promoter Sid Bernstein offered $230 million to charity for a Beatles reunion. They politely declined. That was a lot of money. And in 1928, Batman actor Adam West was born. Same bad time, same bad channel. Okay. The United States of America. We are 50 states that form one union, not the reverse. Our country is frequently referred to as a democracy. It is not. The United States of America is a constitutional representative republic. However, on the local level, our systems of government and the election process does very much act like a democracy, which brings us here this evening to this forum. Our speakers this evening are for the levies, issues, and contested races on the November ballot, met our RSVP guidelines, and agreed to our format this evening. The forum is not a debate. It is informational format, as well as an opportunity to meet the candidates and the speakers in person. We will not be entertaining audience questions during the forum. If you wish to address a candidate or a speaker or representative, please feel free to after our forum has concluded. Speakers will present in last name order, alphabetical order, have 3 minutes to introduce themselves, talk about their qualifications, etc. And the agenda order is taken from the Mahoney County Board of Elections ballot posting. After the 3 minutes, it will be granted an additional 2 minutes for summaries, qualifications, closing statements, what have you. We do have, for the speakers, we do have right underneath the camera, we have a pad back there which is showing the timing on it. So if you respect that, we understand you will. I will also stand up when your time is done. If you do go past your allotted time, Marty Bushy will tackle you and drag you out of the room. It's only happened once. It wasn't pretty. You probably want to avoid that. But, yeah, she runs the train on time. So, very good. So we will start off with our issues speakers. And in order, we will start with the Boardman Local School District levies and Superintendent Tim Saxton.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks to the Boardman Civic Association for putting this on, and thank you for everyone who turned out. I know there's a lot of different things you can go to tonight, but again, these issues and these candidates are important, and you're showing your dedication to our area. So thank you for appearing. So the Boardman Schools, first of all, as Mark said, I'm Tim Saxton. I'm entering my 7th year as superintendent, and I'm sitting here trying to add up all my years. I've been a proud member of the Boardman community for over 50 years. We have 2 renewals on the ballot in November, and if you're a Boardman taxpayer, that should come as no surprise. They're renewals, they're not new money, because back in the spring of 2018, we passed new money, and we made a pledge that we would not put additional new money on for a minimum of 10 years. So renewals are what you're gonna see at least for that next 10-year time period. So these 2 renewals, the first one is a 5.9, it's a current expense levy, and it generates about $5 million. Current expenses in a school district would be your salaries, your benefits, your instruction, your software, your assessments. This was first passed in 2003, so we're looking at about 20 years of renewals. The second issue is a 1.6 permanent improvement levy. Now, permanent improvement levies are for capital improvement projects, security, technology. They do not go towards the operating costs of the district. This was first passed in 1988, so we're looking at about 35 years. Now, the one thing we did do in 2013, because of the effective rate, we reset the effective rate back to 1.6 mils, and it has stood at that time since 2013. There's one little tweak we're asking for this 1.6 permanent improvement levy. Typically, these are either 5-year or 10-year renewals. This one in the past has been a 5-year renewal. We're asking to make it a continuing. And why would we ask that? It's a great question. Capital improvement is important to the Boardman schools. Our facilities are aging, and we're doing the best we can with our finances to make sure they are safe, but they're also effective and they're comfortable for both our students and our staff. Making this a continuing levy gives us a financial background, a financial foundation. If we want to do large capital improvement projects, we can do our own creative internal financing, not pass new taxes on anybody and honor that pledge, but do internal creative projects. And the 1.6 continuing will give us a better picture to financial institutions if we look for some type of internal financing or internal leasing. You know, a 1.6 mil levy generates about $1.4 million for us. I know that sounds a lot. If you're going to do a home improvement, $1.4 million would go a long way. I know my house it would, but $1.4 million in a school district does not. But if you can expand that out over a continuing time, it gives us a chance to do large-scale capital improvement projects. There's no doubt when you take a look at the beautiful development over at the mall or drive down Market Street, Center is an aging building. It was in the news recently. And it's going to get some improvements. That's an insurance claim. But Center, beautiful building, long-standing tradition, long-standing history, but we got to make some decisions about it, and we can't even have a conversation about what to do with it until we strengthen our financial picture. And this 1.6 improvement levy going to continuing will allow us to at least begin some great conversations with our community about what we can do with Boardman Center Intermediate School. So thank you for coming out, and I look forward to your support in November.
Thank you very much, Tim, and appreciate that update on the school district as well. Next, we have the Boardman Township, 2 levies up for renewal, and with us this evening speaking is Township Administrator Jason Lurie.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here. Welcome to Boardman Township. On behalf of the Township trustees, thank you for coming to our beautiful park. Thank you for the Civics Association for the opportunity to speak. For the students here, we hope to work with you as well in the future on some other projects we got going on. But tonight, given the opportunity to speak about 2 renewal levies that we have in Boardman Township, 2.2 mil levy and a 2.9 mil levy. The 2.9 roughly generates about $2.7 million, and the 2.2 about $2 million. The general fund levy, the 2.9, goes for all general fund operations of the township and can be used for all departments. The 2.2 is specific, and it's for police and fire. So Boardman Township has 160 employees. The bulk of that is your police department out there keeping the streets safe, our fire department protecting our property assets, and our road department that helps keep our streets looking as good as they can and using it for paving. So we're very excited to be able to work with the county. They've passed a levy recently to help doing some major paving for all of Mahoning County, but a lot of that trickles down to Boardman Township. So next year, you'll see a tremendously large paving program, and we're hopefully going to be able to get caught up quite a bit. So thank you, county commissioners, county engineer, for that. At Boardman Township, I know recently we've had some serious flooding, and I think I could take the opportunity to say that we're working with our area partners, the county commissioners, county engineer, our state and local reps, to try and help bring an end to some of this sanitary backup in the basements, to put some more retention in. And we're getting excited to announce that this Thursday, the 22nd, the Stormwater District is putting out the bid for the demolition of Market Street Elementary School. That will go out for a couple weeks. The bids will be opened October 3rd. Once that bid is awarded, it is full steam ahead. We have all the project funding we need. Thank you, County Commissioners, for $1 million of ARP money to help get that project going. It's going to help establish over a 1 million gallon regional detention pond, helping over 14,000 homes in Boardman Township, 1,400 homes in Boardman Township, excuse me. And with that, we'd like to build on more projects to help people deal with this flooding in their basements and have this water a place to go. Boardman Township was developed through many different phases over time, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, major developments. And each one of them brought new materials to the field. And we're working right now to do those studies to kind of understand how the system works and the best way to repair it. So we've brought Army Corps money in, we've brought FEMA money in. We're constantly looking for ways to expend that dollars to make those problems slowly dissipate. So thank you, state reps. Al Catrona, thank you so much. You brought some funding for the township. Al was able to bring $500,000 of state capital money for the Market Street projects. We want to thank him as well. And we have another grant that we're hopefully be able to partner with the school on, another $750,000 that will tie in, hopefully, to an outdoor educational facility right in front of Market Street Elementary, bringing that conservation, a wet lab, state-of-the-art facility. So we're working through some issues there. I'd love to be able to announce if that's a go-ahead, but thank you for your help on that as well. Any questions, be happy to field them, but thank you for the time.
Thank you very much, Jason. Boardman remains a viable place to do business and to live. We've heard school systems, we've heard township, there's a lot of commerce going on, so it's good to get these updates as well as other information. Next, we have Mahoning County Children's Services Levy. And here tonight joining us will be Julie Rudolph from the Family Services Department and Denise Barnes-Carper from the Fiscal Officer. They're both be speaking this evening.
Hello to all of you, and thank you to the Boardman Civic Association for allowing Mahoning County Children's Services to speak with all of you all regarding our tax renewal. My name is Denise Barnes-Carper. I'm the fiscal officer for the agency. This particular levy is the agency's 0.5 mil renewal levy. It runs for 5 years and will be first due in the calendar year of 2024. Again, this is a renewal levy, which means that the rate currently used will not change. The cost to an owner of a $100,000 house is approximately $17.50 per year, which makes it a little over $1.45 per month. Taxes will not go up upon passage of this levy, even if property values increase. Property value increases are set by the auditor's office, and if property values are reevaluated, the auditor will adjust the millage down so that the levy does not cost the property owner more in actual dollars than it did when it was originally passed in 2017, and this is based on Ohio HB Bill 920. This levy is estimated to generate $2.3 million annually, which represents approximately 12.3% of our annual revenue. We use this levy primarily for the care and support of the children in the custody of our agency. These funds are used primarily to offset the local share of business operations such as salaries, training, and supplies. Other sources of our annual revenue are federal receipts, which are based on reimbursement of placement costs depending upon the number of children in care and the level of care for these children. We also receive state funds as well as miscellaneous funding, which can be anything from child support collected from the parents of the children to offsets and transfers from our partner agencies such as JFS. We at Mahoney County Children's Services truly appreciate all of the people of Mahoney County and their support of our agency. We are all committed to being the leader in protecting children while helping to preserve families. Thank you again for your time, and please feel free to contact our agency anytime for questions or comments, and please feel free to visit our website, mahoneykids.com, for all of our financial information, as well as information on the agency itself. Again, thank you, and thank you for your support in November.
My name's Julie Rudolph, and I'm the Program Administrator of the Family Services Department at the agency, and I appreciate Denise sharing the specifics of our levy request with you. I'd like to take this opportunity to speak briefly about the services provided by the agency, due in large part to the continuing financial support of the citizens of Mahoning County. Children's Services responds to allegations of abuse and neglect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The content of the allegations that we assess can range from severely injured infants to episodes of domestic violence, to parents who are incapacitated due to substance use, to teenagers who've experienced human trafficking. The casework staff work with parents and custodians to assess the concerns presented and to partner with professionals in education, healthcare, substance use treatment, and mental and behavioral counseling programs to strengthen the protective capacities of the parents and caregivers. When, despite supportive services, children cannot be safely cared for in their own homes, as Denise stated, Mahoning County Children's Services uses the majority of our levy funding to provide for the care of the children in custody. Over the last year, the agency has averaged approximately 234 children in agency custody at any given time. These children live in kinship homes, in foster homes, and at times in residential treatment centers based upon the needs of the children. These children remain in agency custody until they can return to the care of a parent or relative, or a more permanent arrangement can be finalized. The agency is always interested in providing community education and outreach. It includes mandated reporter training for child-serving professionals, as well as presentations to the community about the need for foster caregivers, as well as adoptive families. If anybody in the room has an interest in that sort of presentation, please let me know at the agency. As Denise said, we thank you for your time, and we appreciate your continued support and consideration for the Children's Services levy on the ballot in November. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie Rudolph and Denise Barnes-Carper. You know, it's interesting, we go through our lives maybe not needing some of these entities or government programs that are out there, but it's still, there are needs. And it's interesting and good for us to have more knowledge and hear about them and what they do and the responsible usage of their monies and the people that they serve. Now we'll move on to our elected races. On your agenda, you'll see the first one is the United States Senate, Ohio seat. We invited J.D. Vance and Tim Ryan. Neither one responded. But again, our invitations went out a little late this year because we had that realignment of districts in Ohio in the late primary we had. But those two are pretty busy running around the entire state of Ohio. So yeah, they're running around the state of Ohio, right? So the next race we will move on to is representing the United States Congress, 6th District. Bill Johnson responded. He is in session and could not be here tonight. With us here tonight is Sarah Keeler. So Sarah's from the Congressman's office, so she's here if you have any questions, anything she could help you with. We do have a candidate in that race, Mr. Louis Liris. He is here tonight and will be addressing us. Mr. Liris?
Thank you for having me. I welcome the opportunity to finally introduce myself, and I'm going to read a little bit so I don't get off and digress and take too long. for everybody. My name is Lou Laris. I'm not the doctor, so let's get that one straight. The doctor is my younger cousin. But to introduce myself, I've lived in the Valley for 71 years. I graduated from Camel High School in 1968, Ohio State University 1972 when Woody Hayes was there. I started my painting company, Corcon, an industrial painting company, in 1976 and worked as a painter, union painter, and later as a contractor up and down the Ohio River Valley from Wellsville, Ohio, all the way to Gallipolis. So this is actually the same district that we're now running for, District 6 for the U.S. Congress. So I'm very familiar with those areas, but it's a little different for me because in the mid-'80s, I began working mostly on the East Coast. Most of my work was in New York, Philadelphia, Boston, and those areas. So it's interesting, while I've been here and lived here for 71 years, I don't know a lot of people because I've been mostly out of town. I'm fortunate enough to have my family here, all my children and all my grandchildren, but Dad is always away working out of town. Until I get elected, then it'll be Washington. In the mid-'80s, I also co-founded many companies. I'm an entrepreneur, a business person. In the mid-'80s, I co-founded Advanced Recycling, which actually helped change our painting industry environmentally. At that time, I worked closely with OSHA, EPA, the International Painters Union. I'm very much a union advocate, and our coating associations, and we developed specifications that really define our industry and continue to define. Those are the rules that we're working on right now. I was fortunate enough during that time, because of these businesses, I've been in Asia a number of times, overseas, and this is because we're promoting also these businesses in the other countries. I co-produced actually a painting documentary called Bridge Brothers, and it featured the role of infrastructure in our industry. Now, this was co-produced with me and many of the iron workers, steel workers, carpenters, and painters, because we wanted to feature what we do, what it means to build and repair all the major bridges. I've written articles, trade journals, so most of my experience has been New York City, working with the unions and trades, not in government. Never had time for government. I always did the business side of the work. Of course, as all Democrats here, I am pro-choice, pro-union, and I don't say union, I believe really strongly in collective bargaining agreements. I think that's, because sometimes when I say union, a lot of people think negatively about it, but I do believe strongly about collective bargaining agreements and making people better wages. That's something that I fought for in New York, and I continue because I sit on wage negotiations in New York City. You know, I gotta put my glasses on because I can't see some of my own writing. I am pro-choice, pro-union, I said, pro-public education, and pro-voting rights. Climate change is for real, and we must address it. And by the way, when I did do jobs that we did in our industry, when we addressed climate issues in our industry, we created more jobs, more forward-looking jobs. Is my time up? Yeah. Okay, well then we'll let it go. I was gonna I'll close in saying that in closing, I am finally the proud co-owner of Penguin City Beer in downtown Youngstown with my children who care about Youngstown as much as I do. Thank you.
We gave you some extra time. Yep, thank you. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Laris. We appreciate you being here and your comments this evening. Our next race is the Mahoney County Commissioners. Two candidates, Gino DeFabio and Carol Remedio Rigetti. If you both would please join me up here. Speaking first under the format will be Gino DeFabio.
I had to climb through some chairs, so I got a couple extra seconds here. Hey, good evening, everyone, and I want to thank the Civic Association for having us tonight. It's a wonderful opportunity to talk to the community. Other than knocking on doors, this is no better forum than one of these. I graduated from Cheney High School in 1981. Just shortly thereafter, I met and married the love of my life, Michelle. She's back here with me. We've been married for 40 years. She keeps me level-headed and straight. We went to Florida for 1 year when we first got married. I came back and I got a job as a Teamster at Peter J. Schmidt Company. I worked there for 7 years until it closed. Mr. Hagan, you were there at the end. You came around at the end. I don't know if you remember when Schmidt closed. At Peter J. Schmidt, I was elected a shop steward. I was on an arbitration committee, and I actually sued Peter J. Schmidt. It was Gino DeFabio and class versus Peter J. Schmidt because they weren't treating us well. I always stick up for the men around me. Always. That's the way I was brought up. That's what I learned. After that, I went to work for Modern Builders as a Teamster. After that, I went to work at Budweiser as a Teamster. When the work ran out there, my wife was pregnant. I needed to find a job. I had a buddy stop over. He saw my resume out. I went to work for City Machine Technologies in Youngstown, where I've been for 30 years, continuously. I'd never missed a day of work because of lack of work. So that's a little bit about myself. I'm a working man. That's what I do every day. And I work hard for my money, and I understand what it is to earn a dollar. And I watch how it's spent. Now, immediately, I think when I get elected, we're gonna have to do a comprehensive audit of all of the county. And let me tell you why. Our dollars we send to the county should be protected, should be cherished, like we earned them ourselves. Working and earning a dollar is different than having it, taxed and brought to you. If you figure on what the tax is, it's 1.75%. It takes a lot of money to get $1,000, $100,000. When we spent $27 million at Oak Hill, a building that I'm sure the commissioners would not want to take us through with a camera, and Carol, I'd like you to do that. I'd like to go through Oak Hill with a camera and we'll invite 10 people with us. That would be great, because I want to see what that building looks like, and I think it's only fair you see how your money's being spent. We're losing $600,000 a year at Jackson Milton. They're $500 million in debt because our commissioners didn't want to raise the rates on them. And I've heard that the PUCO even told them, you're not charging enough for the water, and they didn't want to raise the rates. So we lose $600,000 a year, and now they're trying to sell that system. I think that's wrong. You're going to hear a lot about experience. You're going to hear a lot about, oh, he's just a working guy. Well, you know what? I think it's time that we had a working guy who sees where the money, how it takes to earn the money and where it's going. I believe that. I want to be that guy. I want to help you. I want to protect your dollars, and I want to work for you, because I work every day. There's none of this going in for a day or whatever. There's a difference between experience, getting a job because you've been there long enough, and earning it. There's a difference between earning the job. The job is out there. Nobody owns it. And I can't wait till I get elected. And I thank you for your time.
Don't do this yet. I have 3 minutes.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. I am honored to have given this opportunity to serve you as your Mahoney County Commissioner since 2011. I am proud of that position. I work every day for each and every one of you. Experience is invaluable. When you're voting to elect the CEO of your $350 million corporation, you need experience, and I'm proud to run on my record. And I'm also proud of the accomplishments that we have made in the Commissioner's office. Along with my colleagues, Anthony Trafficani and Dave Ditzler, I'm proud of our teamwork and the record of our accomplishments. You see, in local government, there's no place for partisan politics, because when you're representing each and every one of us, you need to put the politics aside. I have always made the people of Mahoney County my first priority. And at the end of the day, it's all about serving the needs of the residents. My main priorities, as well as my partners, public safety. We created the Justice Fund to create money to the sheriff, the prosecutors, the coroner, 911 regional, helping seniors with funding, assisting 20,000 seniors to stay in their homes through the Direction Home, which is the Area Age on Aging. Took ownership of the YDC when the state closed it. It's now the Campus of Care, the most vulnerable individuals, the handicapped individuals. And we moved that to work with private sector, a 35-acre facility. We have Alta, Flying High. We have Compass, Boundless, and many more services in there. The first of the state is also in this northeastern part of the United States. Wraparound services. Fiscal responsibility. Balanced budget. First in the state to have the open checkbook. Transparency is what they said in Mahoney County. High bond ratings in our history, never before. Praised by the state treasurer about how prudent we are with our policies and our practices. Also by S&P, who's our bond rating in New York. Partnered with the Port Authority for Economic Development, creating jobs, $250 million annually in new development. Created the first TIF in Mahoney County history, generating $10 million of new infrastructure. Created the CRA district right here in Boardman, which is the community revitalization area for all retail to come back to the mall. Provided more than $4 million to the county engineer for roads, infrastructure, and equipment. We provided COVID-19 funds, $8 million to assist families and maintain all county services during the pandemic. And I'm out of time.
You'll be back up.
Okay, I start here.
Well, that's quite a list.
It is.
We have, I said it was, Carol, but you failed to mention that $27 million that we have out at Oak Hill, that we have invested on a building with zero wealth, it has zero value. That money would have helped. The millions of dollars out at the water district, that money would have helped. You know, we have the highest tax. I'm sorry? I'll wait till they're done. Thank you, ladies. We have the highest tax rate in the state, the highest sales tax in the state, 1.75%. The very last 1/4% that you allowed the engineer to put on, that he had to fight for, the very last 1/4% the engineer got for our roads, that we all use every day. And believe me, I'm a cop's son. You could ask the cops who they're voting for. The Democrats kind of lost the police vote. That's not your fault, but they did. They lost the police vote. I don't see our county, I don't see them working for our county the way they should. I'm sorry. I don't see the money being spent the way it should. That's why. Let's do an audit. Let's start with Oak Hill. Let's walk through there with a camera and let's see what our money's paying for. There's nobody in this room who works for a living that would paint a truck with a blown up motor and a broken frame, is there? Who would do that? Who in this room that works for a living would do that? I don't think so. That's what we're doing on Oak Hill. But we can't admit that because then there'll be backlash. We had a flood in Boardman. People said, what are you going to do about the flood? You know what? I haven't been there for 12 years watching people's basements flood, but it makes me sick every time it rains. We first bought our home. We had a heavy rain. Water came from the bottom of the steps that went out the drain. I was sick. I can't imagine having to replace every 2 years all your appliances in your basement. And Carol, you went to a ribbon cutting for the river. The people at a river in their basement, they begged you to come and you didn't go. I have friends in Poland, the same story. They said the commissioners wouldn't show up. I want to be your county commissioner. I want to work for you because that's what I do. I want to go to work. I won't leave you behind. I won't worry about the politics or the look. And I'll guarantee you'll never see me with a big check here. Look what I did. I'll get the job done. I want to get the job done. That's what has to be done. That's what you're paying taxes for. And I don't think we're getting that. And if you agree with me, I'd appreciate your vote. And thank you, my time is up, I won't bother you. There, lady.
Well, I'll just continue where I left off. Currently distributing the ARP funds to Mahoney County residents, businesses, and communities for food, shelter, utilities, mortgages, and assistance, infrastructure projects, flooding and sanitary expansion, business development and retention, helping local communities with projects that have gone unfunded from cuts and elimination of the local government funds, the CDBG grants, issue 1 and 2, MCO funds, and this year we lost $10 million from the state. Cuts that are reducing local communities' ability to improve and counter flooding issues that we've just had, or provide ambulance service, or flooding, or forcing many communities to add additional levies. We have been prudent with our finances. We have. Collectively, we are working to build a better future with solving problems of the past. My experience, dedication, and passion help people see that. I am your full-time commissioner, and I am at work every day. And I have many people that could tell you that, Gino. Along with the proven record of success, has hired me to endorse law enforcement has endorsed me, labor, the Black Caucus, private sector, and more. I'm asking you to endorse me on November 8th. I am Carol Remedios Rigetti, and I appreciate your vote. And I must say one other thing. What happened in the past is there. With buildings, with structures. What you don't know, because nobody really pays attention to what they hear a lot of times, is that the Mahoney County Commissioners, the budget director, the facilities director, and others directors are working together in our office to create a committee to oversee all buildings. What happened in the past is the past. When we move forward, we will see what's there. And if I had more time, I would tell you about that as well.
Can you do a debate for an hour somewhere? Can you do a debate? We're done. Can you do a debate somewhere like for an hour?
It's okay.
I'm just asking.
I appreciate that. You can talk to her afterwards.
Yeah, it's okay.
Facts, Gino.
I would debate you for an hour, Carol.
We're done up here. Okay? Very good. Absolutely, we do. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you both very much. We appreciate the passion of the people attending too, but if we could kind of keep our comments down, we're recording this as well, so we appreciate everyone's cooperation. Our next race is for the Ohio 7th District Court of Appeals. 2 candidates, Gene D'Onofrio and Mark Hanai. Gentlemen, if you would join me up here, please, in the same format as we have.
Well, good evening, and thank you, Mark, and thank you to the association. You know, forums like this are very important because the only way we're going to hold our office holders accountable is with an informative electorate, and you should all be commended for the work you do in coming out and hosting this forum. And I know your neighbors and your friends look to you for advice, so thank you once again. I'm the presiding administrative judge on the 7th District Court of Appeals. I have been your judge on the Court of Appeals for the last 5 terms, and I look to serve one more term, as this will be my last term, and I've really enjoyed the experience and appreciated the support that I've had. You know, the Court of Appeals is a court of review, okay? We sit in a panel of 3 judges, and we review trial court decisions, when a losing party loses, they have a right of one appeal. And usually our appeal is the last appeal. And we cover an 8-county district. So we've covered cases, from small claims to traffic tickets, all the way to murder cases, multi-million-dollar lawsuits, and everything in between. And we sit on a 3-judge panel, and then we look and review whether or not the trial judge made any legal error, and if that error affected the outcome of the case. Now, I was told by a very wise person when I first took office that the best politics that you could practice is to do the best possible job at the job that you're elected to. And I felt that I've done that, and I hope I've earned everybody's respect. I think if you look, I have a record. I have a record of judicial integrity. I have a record of judicial independence. The most important thing a judge can do is to decide the cases that come before him on only the facts and the law that are before him on that particular case, setting aside his personal feelings. There's no room for partisan politics in the courtroom. Okay, the rule of law is very important in this system. There's 3 branches of government for a reason, for a purpose. I've sat on about 6,000 appellate cases, and I've written opinions in over 2,000, because when we sit on a 3-judge panel, one of the judges are assigned to write the opinion of the court, and that becomes law for the district. And I say to all of you that that's my record. It's there. They're published, and it's out there, and I've been awfully proud of it. A few other things. I've tried to take a leadership role on the court and in the state in making our system of justice better. I've been voted by all of the other Ohio Courts of Appeals judges in the state as their Chief Justice, and I was proud to serve them. And I believe my time is up. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. This is a public service that needs to be extended by other communities, which is not. People are so busy anymore, they don't have time to figure out a person's character or if they should be elected or they shouldn't. It's all about the almighty dollar and putting your name on TV. So I do applaud the Civic organization for their participation and everybody out for coming out tonight. Secondly, Judge D'Onofrio here did give an explanation in regards to what the court does, and totally correct on that, and I thank him for doing that. But more importantly, right now in our society in America, it's Democrat views versus Republican views. How you look at something and how you come up with an opinion goes by your experience and what you support value-wise. Even though you're not supposed to talk about being predisposed in making a decision, just like in the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court is going to appoint someone, they are vetted. You know if they're pro-life, you know if they're pro-choice, you know if they're pro-Second Amendment or against the Second Amendment. And I think that those values shape your opinion sometimes. Naturally, all judges need to follow the law. I'm a constitutionalist. I will not legislate from the bench, which many Democrats do now. I mean, that's known throughout the United States. When I ran for the same position 10 years ago, and I get a little bit chastised because I put my values out there. Matter of fact, I was grieved for it, but I won the grievance. I stated, as a Democrat, that's why I struggled with party identity for a long time. I stated that I will not compromise my Catholic values for politics. I personally believe in the sanctity of life and the sanctity of the family, but I will always follow the law. Well, I qualified that by saying I will always follow the law. So that was my saving factor when I went in front of the panel at the Bar Association. My background, I'm from Boardman, went to Boardman schools, then graduated from Wentworth Military Academy for high school, went on further to Youngstown State University, and then to law school at Duquesne University, where I sat on the law review. I do have the experience, But I do think, personal values shape your opinions. Law isn't always cut clear. You have an abuse of discretion, so you can't always view things the same way. Depends how you were brought up. As I say in my flyer, that I'm a constitutionalist. I don't believe that judges should legislate from the bench. They determine the law, as the judge stated. They set precedents. So the precedent is set either democratically when your views or Republican. Right now, my views are Republican and have been. I struggled with party identity for a long time. My father was the party chairman of the Democratic Party for many years, but he likewise was a member of the NRA, a lifetime member. He always believed in the Second Amendment. A matter of fact, when 9/11 happened, his solution to 9/11 was when you get on a plane, they should get everybody a gun. Then we don't have to worry about anybody getting, hijacked. Okay? Yes.
3 minutes.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You will have 2 more.
Okay.
As I said earlier, I think judicial integrity and my judicial canons of ethics are very important to me. And although I have personal feelings, for years, our canons prohibit us for talking about that, and I'm going to stand by that. But to continue with what I've done on the court, in addition to my judicial service, I was involved with and instrumental in bringing a brand new $3.2 million Court of Appeals courthouse to downtown Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, Mahoning County. We have 8 counties in our district, and we could have gone in any county of those 8 counties, but it was important to me that we stay in Mahoning County because it is the largest county of our district. Public outreach is also very important to me. I've developed programs on the court for education. We regularly go out to area high schools and actually conduct live Court of Appeals hearings. In fact, your superintendent, who was the principal about 15 years ago, invited us to Boardman, and we had a great experience there in your Performing Arts Hall. I work with 3 other judges. We sit on a panel of 3 when we work. Judge Diapolito, Judge Carol Robb, and Judge Cheryl Waite. We all have differences of opinion on different things, but we do agree to disagree in an agreeable fashion. So that's real important, and especially in this day and age with clashing and, all of the controversies that go on between office holders, so on and so forth. But the last thing I did, I think I took a leadership role being voted by my peers as the presiding administrative judge in the court during COVID. And because of some of the measures that we took in regards to Zoom hearings, we were able to stay on top of our docket and move the court forward. And I see that my time is up. And I apologize. I asked Mark earlier if I could excuse myself. It's my wife's birthday today, and my daughter's having dinner for all of us. So thank you once again, all of you.
The judge is right. A lot of times they agree to disagree. However, it's been unfair at the Court of Appeals, 7th District Court of Appeals. It's been democratically controlled for decades. Right now, there's 3 Democrats and 1 Republican. For years, it was all Democratic. Now it's changed a little bit, and I'm hoping that it'll be a 2-2. It'll be 2 Republicans versus 2 Democrats.
It was 2-2.
Oh, it was?
Mary DeGennaro
That was 1.
and Carol Rock came
Carol Rupp came off
Yeah.
that.
on. Okay.
Okay, but I didn't interrupt you, so I'd
No,
appreciate
I'm
it if you
sorry.
don't interrupt me,
Please
okay?
take more time.
Okay, thank you. Anyways, we need to have Republican values also. Myself personally, I don't believe that the critical race theory should be shoved down the kids' throats in school. I don't believe that transgender should be shoved down the kids' throats at school. And I do believe that bail should be considered whether or not they are a threat to society, which has just came about, and they're not doing it. They don't consider it a threat to the community. I think we need to have Republican values, even though we all have to follow the law, and I appreciate your vote on Election Day.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Yeah, the appeals court is not a court you generally hear a lot about, right? Because you're probably not there very often. There are attorneys representing you or representing your business or your cause. But it is very important, and I think that was illustrated tonight by both candidates, the importance of that seat and of that court. Okay, our next race is for the Ohio State Senate 33rd District. Two candidates, Bob Hagan and Michael Ruley. Both responded. Bob Hagan is here this evening to address us. Mr. Ruley cannot attend. He had a previous speaking engagement, so we'll extend to Mr. Hagan 4 minutes.
It's really great to run for re-election unopposed tonight. Michael doesn't seem to understand the importance of making sure you show up, and I've always shown up. Every time that I've served in the 28 years in the legislature, I've always been here, there, and any time they called me, I was there. But let me ask you a simple question tonight, and that question I think should be on the top of everyone's head and mind. Are you better off this year than you were last year? Are you better off? Are you better off this year than you were the last 10 years? Are you better off now than you were, let's say, 25 years? Let me tell you why you're not. Because inflation is running rampant. Rising prices in groceries and gas and medicine are out the roof. How about flooding? How about what happened here in Boardman Township? The Democrats in the U.S. Congress voted for the infrastructure funding that would give every single township, the 13 townships in this county, enough money to do quite a bit of stuff. We had the ARP money, we had the CARES Act, infrastructure money that was supposed to be used for infrastructure. That is, if the Republicans would have voted for it. They actually reduced the cost and the money that was supposed to come to us here in Boardman Township. They reduced it because not one Republican voted for it. Not a single Republican. You're talking about partisan politics. That's what we are. The judge is talking about values, of course. Who we are. I think it's important. Let's talk about school safety. How about allowing teachers, cafeteria workers, and bus drivers to carry guns into your kids' classrooms? How about corruption? Are you okay with one of the biggest corporations in the state of Ohio giving a $60 million bribe? Are you okay with that? How about women's rights? Are you okay with legislation that takes away a woman's right to have control of her own body? To send a 10-year-old who was raped, impregnated by a sexual predator to another state for health care? That wasn't done by Democrats. That bill was done by Republicans. Are you okay with your vote in 2015 to have fair districts? We voted in 2015 for fair districts. Get rid of gerrymandering. 2018, we did it again. And 5 times, the Ohio Supreme Court said, you've done it wrong. And so what do we have here? We have districts that are gerrymandered, that guarantees that Republicans will win because they're trying to steal the election in a certain way. You know, politics means that you have to talk about the issues that are important, the possibilities that your responsibilities are, and what you have to do. Politics means that you pay attention to what you've done, how you vote, and how others have voted. And that's what the decision is tonight for all of you. Excuse me. I just want to remind everybody that the state of Ohio has been controlled by Republicans for the last 25 years, not by Democrats. That's the difference. I'm Bob Hagan. I'm running for re-election. Sure, I was there for 28 years, but I want your support tonight. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Hagan. Our next race is for Ohio State Representative, 58th District. Two candidates, Al Catrona and Bruce Neff, both RSVP. They're here this evening. Gentlemen, if you would please join me.
Hi, I'm Al Catrona, and I'm proud to be your state representative. I stood here roughly 2 years ago, right here in Boardman Park, and I expressed my vision for this area. And yeah, maybe I had a little bit more hair back then, but hey, the job's a little tough. But unlike most politicians who talk about all the things that they're going to do, I can sit here and tell you what I have done. I can sit here today and say that I have done everything that I had promised that I would do for our community. When we talk about things like funding our law enforcement, I brought back over $175 million to state and local law enforcement agencies. $3 million of that right here in Mahoning County. I wanted to make sure our schools would be funded. I wanted to make sure that we took care of our vocational schools, and that we would make sure that our community centers had the much needed dollars. I've done all three of those. I brought back $50 million for our local K through 12 schools. I brought back the necessary funding to complete the fire training tower at MCCTC, so that our brave men and women that could go in there day in and day out they could be well trained. And I brought back over $650,000 to Camel Community Center. I ensured that I would make sure that we protected our nurses, those frontline workers. I did that. I've done that with my personal bill that I passed in regarding nurse overtime. With regards to the epidemic, with the opioid epidemic that's ongoing in our country, I said I wanted to address that, and my bill was signed by the governor so that we would no longer have fraudulent scripts out on the street. I wanted to make sure that we cut down our taxes, and I've done that to the tune of $200 billion with a big. And I saved dollars for every single person here because of our lower income tax. And that's money that we need now more than ever, given to the rate of inflation and cost of living. A lot of promises have been made, and I've kept all of them. And I wanted to be the most effective legislator down in the State House, and I did that by passing more bills than any other legislator, Republican or Democrat, senior or freshman. How did I do that? By reaching over the aisle and shaking the hands of my colleagues on the other side. I did that because it was common sense legislation, things that are good for our valley. And I will always continue to fight for the valley's values. A vote for Al Catrona on November 8th is a vote for the valley. Thank you.
I want to thank the association, the Boardman Association, for this opportunity, and everyone for showing up tonight. It's very true that an informed electorate is the most important thing for our democracy. My name is Bruce Neff. I think I'm the best choice for your state representative in the newly gerrymandered District 58 of the Mahoning Valley. I'm a seventh generation descendant of Mahoning Valley pioneers. I graduated from college with a degree in comprehensive science, taught for a few years at the Mahoning Valley Vocational School of Electricity. My experience in AV led me to a career in professional video sales, and I've lived all across the country in a dozen different cities. 20 years ago, my wife Claire and I decided to move back to our hometown, and we came back to the Valley. We own 2 businesses in Canfield, LED3, which is a video display company. Like Lou, most of my work is out of town, although I've done quite a few things, the Boardman Stadium, the YSU Stadium and the screen at the Eastwood Mall. But Claire and I have 2 older daughters that live in Youngstown and Boardman. Check my time. I have been elected and served on the Canfield City Council for 5 years. I'm passionate about history and politics, and the dysfunction in our federal government makes our state legislatures incredibly important, and that's why I'm running. And that affects our local government funding. Funding has been cut. Safety, as in the new gun law, our current legislatures have enacted. Education, our state's inability to reform unconstitutional state funding. The bones and blood of our communities are our water systems, our stormwater systems, our sanitary systems. These are inextricably tied to the taxes and the tax base, which are often at odds with businesses and residents. So electing Bruce Neff will bring experience, honesty, and better ideas to our district. I see I have 30 seconds left, so I'm going to keep going. There's a lot of things that can be done in Youngstown. I talked to Lou about this. Where we live, where we are located, we could become the recycling center of the whole country. We're halfway between New York and Chicago. We're halfway between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. We could be the recycling leaders. I'm a member of a sportsman's club, but I'm against assault rifles. I would like to see Ohio become the smart gun capital. If we want to manufacture something, my time's up, let's manufacture smart guns that identify the police officers that are holding them. Anyway, thank you very much.
Well, I'm just going to kind of keep going from where I left off. So, bottom line, the reason why that I want to continue being your state representative is because I want to ensure that we are well funded in our valley. During my time in the state legislature, I brought more dollars back to our district than we've ever seen before. In over 4 decades, we've been left and forgotten, but for the first time, we're being listened to. For the first time, our voices are being heard in Columbus. You heard earlier about the flooding in the Boardman area, right here, just right down the street. They mentioned my name. Why? Because I was able to secure and bring back $1.2 million to address the flooding situation. It was an 80-year issue, and we're trying to get this resolved. I kind of think about all the amount of support that I have out there, and I think about the endorsements that I have. I've been endorsed by every union out there, whether you're a painter, whether you're a teamster, whether you're a carpenter, a pipe fitter. You name it, I've had their endorsement. I've been endorsed by the teachers union. Why is that? The reason is because they have faith in me. They have trust in me. They know that I can do the best job. And I'm asking you guys to support me so that we can continue on with my vision of a better valley for improvement, whether it's through our infrastructure, for our schools, for our children, for their safety. I would appreciate your support in keeping me down in Columbus so I can continue protecting the valley's values. And once again, remember, a vote for Al Catrona on November 8th is a vote for the valley's values. Thank you so much.
I have to say that I'm so proud of the Democratic team that I'm part of. The values that Democrats hold, I think, are very special and responsible for the success of our country. I know that a lot of people want to put, I brought back this much money back to our district, and that's important. But it's also important to realize the sanctity of work, the value of work. And I think that that's what the Democrats stand for. This is a very important election, and there's a lot going on. So we all have to get out and support Democrats. I've still got a minute, so. You know, we have, I'll tell you, in Canfield, we have flooding problems too. Not as much as Boardman does, but it is tough. You know, infrastructure, and I'm sorry, but I can't understand why people are so against our current president. It has become so partisan. Biden, you know, is not perfect, but he has done so much for this country, and there's so much coming now. We're on a great track to have the most wonderful country success out of all the world. I've traveled, as Lou has, I've been to China, to South America with my business, and what's coming is going to, I think, put this whole country in a position to lead the world, just as we've done since the Second World War. So I appreciate everyone thinking of elect Bruce Neff and get out there and vote November 8th. Thank you.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you to all the speakers who presented here this evening and to all of our attendees. Special thank you, of course, to people who participated and make tonight work. Tommy Testa, Meg Harris, keeping us organized, McKenna Ozenkar for her promotional work, we thank you. Boardman Schools Television Network, thank you very much, and the area media outlets for their promotions. And Karen McCallum for keeping us organized and on time. Thank you, Karen. We just have a few more closing comments, please, if you would bear with us. You've been a great audience tonight. We appreciate that. I'd like to remind you of our dinner coming up on October 17th, our Community Awards dinner meeting. And some final comments. You know, being an informed electorate, like many people said tonight, is a personal responsibility of every American, which we owe to our forefathers and the generations who came before us. Those individuals who at great personal risk formed this nation and saw to its stewardship, as well as those who have served our country in a military capacity, all to preserve our way of life. We certainly hope you consider exercising these freedoms that you enjoy and the many others that you do on November 8th and participating in the election, because most of the world cannot, but you have the privilege to do so. So thank you for attending tonight. We hope you have found it informative. Please consider sticking around and talking to some of these speakers and enjoying that. And on behalf of the Boardman Civic Association, we say thank you, God bless America, and have a good night.